الحمد لله نحمده ونستعين به ونستغفره ونستهديه واشهد ان لا اله الا الله واشهد ان محمدا عبده ورسوله ارسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره عباد الله اوصيكم واياي بتقوى الله أوصيكم وإياي بتقوى الله أوصيكم وإياي بتقوى الله واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم إذ كنتم أعداء فألف بين قلوبكم فأصبحتم بنعمته إخوانا وكنتم على شفا حفرة من النار فأنقذكم منها. الحمد لله على نعمة الإسلام، الحمد لله على نعمة الإيمان، الحمد لله على نعمة حبيبنا وسيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين. الحمد لله على نعمة القرآن، الحمد لله على يوم الجمعة يوم خصه الله بهذه الأمة. أما بعد. We are in the middle month of Sha'ban. Sha'ban is a preparation for Ramadan. And the middle of Sha'ban, people usually use to prepare themselves to the fasting of Ramadan. And what I wanted for us is to prepare for Ramadan by advising myself and you on certain things that Alhamdulillah, for a minute I thought I would be talking to myself. Jazakumullah khair. So, just to counsel myself and you about Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in chapter Al-Baqarah, كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. Allah said that fasting has been prescribed to you. Right? Kutiba is agreed. Right? This is all understood by the verb. As it was prescribed to those who came before you. And the operable cause or rationale, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So that you may, and the translation often people make a mistake by translating taqwa as fear. Taqwa is not fear because the tenor of Arabic, khawf is fear, which is again, right? That's why when we say khaf Allah, ya akhi, fear Allah, meaning have concern, worry about Allah. Taqwa, while it has a deeper understanding of fear, but it's not fear in the same way that khawf. Taqwa, that you may attain a guard, a protection. So that you may attain, in essence, a protection, the same way that when we took the COVID vaccine to protect yourself, taqwa is that protection that we get. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ, so that you may attain protection. And taqwa, in essence, is that you may attain God consciousness. So that really the closest translation, because again Arabic is very difficult to translate. That's why we don't say this is a translation of the Quran. This is a translation of the meaning of the Quran. Because each word has multiple feelings and synonym, antonyms that you need to be aware of before you actually say that this is what this verse is saying. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that taqwa is for you to have God consciousness. Again, sometimes when we have somebody that did something wrong, say, taqillah ya akhi. Right? What are we saying? Say, have God consciousness, oh brother or sister, about what you're doing. So that's the basic purpose of Ramadan from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you may attain God consciousness. Now what is it that makes us leave God consciousness, which is the most important question? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking us to fast. Why? why fasting is being prescribed for us. It is the human being is a habitual animal. And I hear animal because again, in definition, in logic, say the definition of an insan, حيوان ناطق. In Arabic, right? حيوان ناطق meaning ناطق meaning a rational animal. Right? So in this sense, food is that which we are most habitual about. Again, just if you don't eat 3 times a day, or in America, if you don't eat every minute, right, it's a crisis. So we have to eat a snack. We like snacking almost 6 times a day, and then we have in our pockets and bags, car, all kinds of snack. And you go at home, you're snacking. So we are a habitual people. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you to disrupt and cut your habitual self. So you begin to think. Now I bet each one of you, when you go on to buy your coffee, you go buy your coffee from the same place every time. And if they switch where you have the half and half, you get bent out of shape. But it's just only half and half. You park your car in your job in the same place, or in your house, even if your son parked in the place where you park, you actually get upset because you're already programmed. You already have created a mental map. So that you may be God conscious. So why food? Because it's something that constantly, right, 24/7 is repetitive, and you break the habits. You break the bad habits, which food is the worst habit that we have. Again, I'm not against eating, so if you're going to invite me for dinner, I'm not going to say no, so just to be clear. But just to understand that we are habitual. And when we begin to disrupt our habit, we begin to think. Right? Anybody that have participated in sports or studying, you never go and participate in competition with a full stomach. Right? Because if you have a full stomach, the blood is down here, not up here. And if the blood down here, then you're going to get an F on the grade, no matter what you tell the professor. So usually you recommend at least 2 hours before athletic competition, or sometimes more, and before you go study, or before you have an exam, not to eat just before the exam. Oh, I need to have a mahshi, right? Or chicken tikka masala before the exam because I can't think. That is like you completely are opposite what is recommended. So the human being is a habitual, right, species that is accustomed, and once you begin habitual, you stop thinking. Now the Prophet ﷺ said, "Sumu tasihhu." Sumu tasihhu. Fast and you may attain health. Now, if anybody is following the most recent debates, discussions, conversations about diet, intermittent fasting is the rage around America and different societies. People are sitting in there and say, you need to practice intermittent fasting. What is intermittent fasting? To fast for 12 hours. Oh, mashallah, becoming Muslim. Again, people are just right. You go to every shelf, every news item, every discussions about health, they're actually saying intermittent fasting. Right? Again, that's not me, that's the most pressing research because it rewires your system, rewires your metabolism, changes your behavior. The Prophet ﷺ used to fast. Again, the best fast is twice a week. From the Prophet, Monday and Thursday. The Prophet Dawood alayhi salam used to fast one day and break his fast one day. Today people are saying, again, this is the research says to try daily to fast and delay your food consumption so you will have a better metabolism. I'm telling you that in this country, 60% of people are overweight, which in their, what you call weight, are in obese type of overweight. With obesity comes all kinds of diseases. One of the most frequent or most widely developing disease as a result of weight is diabetes. Alright? Whether it's type 2 or type 1. Now here's what it's like, it's a healthcare khutbah. Yes, the Prophet ﷺ says, "Sumu tasih." Alright? Research shows that Muslims consume more food in Ramadan than before Ramadan. They changed the word "sumu tasihhu" to "sumu tansahu." Sumu and you will gain weight. We have transformed it. We begin to actually organize ourselves to see which meal and which enormous spread we're going to go, and it becomes 7 days a week of 7 what you call samorga on each house. Now in traditional Muslim societies, they used to invite each other in Sha'ban. Ramadan was not intended for what you call the celebration and the festivities. That was dedicated to you actually tightening up so you can gain God consciousness. And I know here maybe Muslim women, we think that God says in Ramadan you should be an occupant of the kitchen. Right? Meaning that becomes, we associate Ramadan with 24/7 cooking, and you know God says that you should have 4 types of meat in every meal in Ramadan. 3 is not sufficient, 2 is not sufficient, and 1 you're committing a sin. So you have to have lamb, beef, chicken, fish. And I'm not going to get the 5th one because we're not allowed to have camel meat around here. But if we can, you will have it. More importantly, we throw in the garbage in Ramadan more food than we actually often consume. Right? And again, I'm myself included in terms of what Ramadan becomes. God consciousness becomes almost set aside, and we are indulgent in all the things that are there. People in Ramadan used to actually change and decrease their food intake every day in Ramadan. By the end of Ramadan, you're consuming less. In our case, actually, we begin to do iftar at sunset and stop eating at suhoor. We alter all our perspective. So the Prophet ﷺ, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, and dealing with food, because it's one of the habits that has the most impact on your health. Now I'm going to add a little bit in here. Again, it's a conversation between me and you, because ad-dinu nasiha, that our religion is nasiha, is to give counsel. People begin to serve each other, right? All what we call soft drinks. There is nothing soft about soft drinks. Right? If you want to honor your guest, orange juice is excellent. If you don't like orange juice, get to Apple Hill up here and get some apple juice. If you don't like apple juice, again for those from the Indian subcontinent or Yemen, mango is great. If you don't, then find some other natural product. Coca-Cola is not soft drink, it's a diabetic waiting to actually get you into a diabetic response in your body. It's 14 spoons of sugar that makes you more thirsty than anything else. You know when you drink this can of soda, right? Your body actually goes into a diabetic response because you put in your body 14 spoons of sugar. And what is the advertisement? Again, they invited the devil to be what you call an ad expert. He said, no, inni akhafullah. Coke says, quench your thirst, right? That's their banner. When you drink any of these drinks, actually you become more thirsty because it's actually putting in your body literally sugar, so you never actually quench your thirst. In Arabic, we say, al-ma' sharab al-uqala. Water is the drink of the wise. Coca-Cola is sharab al-aghniya. Right? Literally, because no one will actually serve somebody complete, utter damage to your body. When Coca-Cola wanted to spread their product in Africa, they actually told them that the African society is accustomed to natural drinks. He says, we don't see that as a crisis, we see it as an opportunity. Meaning to shift people from natural drinks to literally water with sugar and some color in it. And I'm telling you, in parts of the Muslim world, we think that we're sophisticated, that we're giving people a can of Coke or a can of Pepsi or 7-Up or 7-Down. This is like what you call compounded ignorance. Right? And we don't want actually to have the natural drinks. I'd love for people to give me mango lassi. You're insulting me if you're giving me a Coke because you're giving me a diabetic drink versus something that had generations of development and people did it with love and care. So we need to switch in Ramadan, make a commitment because لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَصِحُونَ, so you would actually attain health. That's what it means to have taqwa, to have a protection. Nothing in the Quran and nothing in our prophetic tradition except is good for you. But we need to have an understanding. Now I want to also point to some things that behaviorally takes place. It seems that people begin accustomed to having addiction to social media during Ramadan. Because again, people tend to stay up. So they think that لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ لَعَلَّكُمْ TikTok throughout the night. So people actually share khutbas throughout the night while forgetting that 2 rak'ahs for them is much better than 100 videos of TikTok or Instagram and so on. It might be that somebody will listen to the dua that you're sending and you're not getting the benefit of what you are doing. And again, I'm not a person that says, social media is haram, I'm not in that. Ramadan is لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, to try to actually have an agenda for you. What's your agenda in Ramadan? What's your purpose? How to actually be purposeful a human being. Other people are beginning to look, say, intermittent fasting. Here's what you need to do. Here's the healthy products that you need to eat. Here's what you need to go and get from Whole Food or Whole Wallet, which is owned by Amazon. Right? We are, on the other hand, are trying to get Coca-Cola, 7-Up, and so on, and just TikTok our life without any consciousness. So we are a people of purpose. We are a people of purpose. Right? You know that during the Middle Age period, Muslims had a whole book, cookbooks, with actually healthy food that recipes and how people need to actually accustom themselves to food. You know the whole concept of a breakfast with an orange juice, it originates from Muslims who came and set up that cuisine in terms of Spain. Literally, again, if you read the history, Muslims introduced the orange juice in the morning. So now you go to, the Denny's, and you get an orange juice in the morning and you think that you're sophisticated, you actually are continuing the experience and the impact of Muslims from that era. So, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, that you may be God conscious. That's what Ramadan is about. Breaking your bad habits, and one of the worst habits that you have, again, worse in the sense of not thinking about what you are doing, right? The food consumption. Right? Because the self is an appetitive self. That's what the human being is, a person that just like consume. Right? And aql, which is intellect, is the one that's able to restrain themselves. The Prophet ﷺ, when he saw somebody overweight, again, I'm not critiquing anybody overweight, he says that should be better on someone else. Meaning that you're overusing, over-consuming. The problem today in the world is not the lack of food, it's the lack of distribution and the lack of understanding. The person who was hungry in a condition of poverty is because somebody is over-consuming and lack of distribution that is taking place. And that's what understanding what Ramadan purpose is all about. Now I want to add a little bit in terms of our indulgence in TV. Right? In Ramadan, in the Arab world, as well as in other places, they try to design the best lahu, right, which is called al-musalsalat, right, for Arabic, or series. So you find that in Ramadan, as if shaitan is having 24/7. Allah said, and the Prophet ﷺ said that the shayateen are mukabbareen, are musaffadeen, they're locked up. We open it up 24/7. And some of the most overindulgences, people tend to spend the time over in front of the TV over Ramadan and forget Taraweeh, Qiyam al-Layl, they might forget Isha, they might forget Fajr, but definitely they're not going to forget actually doing the musalsal. Right? And the musalsal, again, it rhymes with silsila, really literally tying yourself up. And again, I'm not telling you that TV is haram or this haram, that's somebody else's business. I'm just telling you that be a purposeful human being. If you're on a job, your manager tells you, here's what we need, our goals for the quarter, right? And once you fulfill your quota, they'll give you a commission that you got your sales correct, your project correct, and so on. Is that with God, you don't have any agenda. You don't have any goals. You don't have anything. Right? Well, Allah said that this month is for you, so you re-energize yourself. You actually transform those things that keep you away. So that's what Ramadan is for us, as a recharging of gaining protection. Health-wise, but also being a purposeful human being. Right? Now, if I tell you, well, alhamdulillah, mashallah, you're doing great, I'm just laughing at you and myself. As-sadiq, right, in Arabic, is the person who is truthful to you in advice. The hypocrite, or the one who, what you call, عنده مداهنة, right, waxes, oh, you look great, and your hair is like going up north, left, right. Oh, you're great, because they don't care about you. Right? So, الصديق الذي يصدقك القول, the truthful or the friend is the one that tells you the truthful statement. So I'm telling you, here's what it is. Here's what we need to do. It's for your health. And you ask people, right? One of the moments that for us to go and really look is the Marlboro commercial, right? Marlboro as a smoke, not that I smoked, right? Or have the hookah again, and that's a separate issue, right? Because people think that Ramadan and hookah goes together, right? So, and you put it in the garage. Again, that's another issue. Marlboro was a cigarette for women, was a feminine product. And the company felt that they need to expand their market because men smoke more than women. So they designed a whole commercial and campaign with the macho man, the cowboy. Right? So if you looked during the 70s and 80s, you had the cowboy man smoking Marlboro. And that began to shift, and people began to try to buy Marlboro as a sign of their macho man. I'm a strong, tough, because the commercial told me that this is the person that I need to emulate. So the product became a symbol for macho, and it was all in TV shows, on films, and so on. The person who was in the commercial died of lung cancer. And before his death, they had to open a hole in his throat to speak, and in his deathbed, he says, I wish, and I actually call on people to stop smoking. He was the person who was representing the macho man. So on your deathbed, nobody except you will be there to contemplate about your mistakes. But God is telling you that you have 1 month out of the year to actually rechange yourself. The door to Allah is always open. Is always open. Repentance to Allah is always open. Right? Istighfar is always open. Changing your life is always open. There is nothing called I am late. Time for us to لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that you may gain protection in this life and with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه.
Jumuah Mubarak. We want to thank Dr. Hatem for joining us today from Zaytuna College. Alhamdulillah. You can see him again tomorrow at Bazian, inshallah. A couple of quick reminders. First, Ramadan is upon us. We have 2 Jumu'ahs before Ramadan, inshallah. So, as the reminder of Khutba was saying, it is never too late. You want to start now with your preparations for Ramadan. Start fasting now. Start preparing yourself now. Start preparing your household now. Start preparing your families now for Ramadan, inshallah, so you don't miss the opportunity of the blessed one, inshallah. You will see that in the SALAM newsletter, and I'm reminded to please pass the boxes both upstairs and downstairs. You'll see in the SALAM newsletter that calendars of Ramadan have been released. Inside of the Musalla, you'll see the prayer schedule as well as the event schedule inside of the brothers area and on the sisters area. So please pick one up before you go. Online, you will see a full calendar, 8 pages, of all the activities that we'll have during Ramadan, inshallah. Again, prepare now. There are some things that are happening before Ramadan that are of particular interest. Next week, we'll be doing a masjid cleaning. That is on Saturday, March 10 at 10 a.m. We'll be prepping the masjid for Ramadan, inshallah. So we invite those folks who are interested in volunteering to come and help out in the cleaning of the masjid. The following week, March 18th, that is a Saturday as well, we'll be doing masjid decoration. So next week is cleaning, 10 o'clock. The following week is decoration, 10 o'clock, inshallah. So please join us if you're able to do so. There's also opportunity, inshallah, to sponsor an iftar. So if you'd like to sponsor an iftar for the month of Ramadan, we have iftars Friday, Saturday, and Sunday throughout the entire month. If you're an individual who would like to sponsor an iftar, it's $2,500 to sponsor the iftar for the night. That feeds about 300 people. If you'd like to do so as a group, as a couple, as a family, you're all welcome to do so. If you have $50 that you're going to contribute, fi sabilillah, all of it is accepted, inshallah. If you are a community that wants to come together and cook for that particular time, please see Brother Ayad, office manager downstairs, and he'll help you figure out a day, time, etc. You can donate for iftars online. If you click on donate at SALAM, you'll see an option donate for iftar. You can do that there. There's also now the option for zakat. So if you like to pay your zakat, some people like to pay zakat in the month of Ramadan. Both are now active, so you can go there to do so. Lastly, I want to remind you that Ramadan is a busy time. You can go on to the QR codes that you see around the masjid and automate your giving. So rather than trying to remember each night, I want to donate this night, I want to volunteer this night, I want to contribute this night, you can automate it. For the month of Ramadan, I'm going to donate $5 every night. So I know fi sabilillah, this is taken care of. And you get the ajr, you get the blessing, you get the benefit of that each night of Ramadan. So you have those options available to you, inshallah. Please take advantage of them. Prepare now, inshallah, 2 Jumu'ahs before Ramadan. Jazakallah.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعين به ونستغفره ونتوب إليه وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. So my advice to myself and to you is to set up for yourself an agenda for Ramadan, an agenda for your food, an agenda for your technology, social media, whatever, to make those elements part of your fasting. I know that we think that we were born with a phone in our hand and a TikTok instead of a pacifier, but that's the modern nature of the pacifier, that it began to be this whole structure that is addictive in nature, right? So I think if Al-Khawarizmi knew what people will do with his algorithms that he would develop, he would be in shock just to see where we are. So really make sure that you do it also. And then lastly, I would recommend for all of us to really depart from what's called soft drinks. There is nothing soft of them. And honor your guests with water and some traditional drink that you have. Trust me, that is the best service that you could have to people, is just to eliminate this corn syrup that is destructive, that has multiple impacts on the body. Just make a conscious effort. If you do this, your health will just be improved tremendously because of the damage that it visits you. Tomorrow we will be here for IGNA, the Islamic Circle of North America. So there will be a dinner, an annual dinner to support their effort. It will be in the hall at WAS. So we encourage all of you to support their effort. They do a large number of programs, feeding hungry, they have the shelter program and so on. So it's really an organization that has a national footprint, but it's really part of the institutions locally that continue to contribute and impact in many different ways. And I'll be here inshallah to support them tomorrow. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد اللهم إني داع فأمنوا اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا بالخير شر ما قضيت فإنك تقضي بالخير ولا يقضى عليك وإنه لا يذل من وليت تباركت ربنا وتعاليت ربنا ردنا للإسلام ردا جميلا ربنا ردنا للإسلام ردا جميلا ربنا ردنا للإسلام ردا جميلا اللهم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على طاعتك اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه يا رب العالمين اللهم ارحم المسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات يا رب العالمين اللهم ارحم المسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات يا رب العالمين اللهم اشف مرضى المسلمين جميعا يا رب العالمين اللهم اشفهم شفاء تاما يا رب العالمين اللهم خفف عنهم اللهم خفف عنهم اللهم خفف عنهم يا رب العالمين اللهم إنا مغلوبون فانصرنا اللهم إنا مغلوبون فانصرنا اللهم إنا مغلوبون فانصرنا وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وأقم الصلاة إن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون